Distributors of videos circulating on the web claim it shows proof that Syria's government is guilty of attacking its own citizens with chemical weapons. Just last week, U.S. officials admitted the likelihood that Syria has used small amounts of chemical weapons, and President Obama has said if Syria does that, quote, there will be consequences. Senator Jim Risch sits on the Intelligence and Foreign Affairs Committee and joins us now live. Senator, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Shannon. Glad to be here.
All right, based on what you know, what you've heard, what you've seen, what is your take on whether or not Syria has crossed that line?
Well, as far as crossing the line of using chemical weapons, there's no question in my mind that they have. We saw proof of it. The interesting thing is this is not news to people who are briefed in the intelligence community. This information's been out there for at least a month. I'm assuming the president's known it for a month. I would assume he has access to at least as good of intelligence briefings as we do. So this is not news. The difficulty is, and you've already covered it here, is once the president has said this is a red line, what do you do about that? The thing you don't want to do in this area of the world is show any kind of weakness. Once he said this is a red line, he's going to have to handle it somehow, because Iran is watching this very, very closely, and that is probably the most important issue here, is how Iran perceives what we do when we lay down a red line and then the opposing party crosses that red line.
In addition to what the president said, then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton also in December said, suffice it to say, we are certainly planning to take action if that eventuality were to occur, meaning the use of the chemical weapons. So what are our options on the table? Are we talking about helping create a no-fly zone, aiding rebels there? How would we make decisions about who to arm, how to vet them? What's your take on what our options are?
Well, there's no good options. That's the first thing. The president's faced with very, very difficult decisions to make here. I noticed on Friday he started to walk it back a little bit. He said the red line was really the open use of chemical weapons, whatever that means. I guess the closed use isn't the red line that he was talking about. But I can understand why they want to walk it back now. Once that statement was made, you've got to move forward doing something. This is not like a lot of other places in the world. Damascus is one of the most heavily guarded, has one of the best air defense systems in the world. I've heard people say it's the fourth best. Whatever it is, it's certainly one of the top air defense systems in the world. So going in there with a typical type of military assault from the air is going to be very difficult. The American people need to understand that if somebody pulls the trigger over there, you're going to be talking about a very, very significant conflict, because obviously before you can send air power in, you got to take out the air defenses. They're in amongst a lot of civilians. There's just a lot of difficulties in going into that country.
How much pressure do you think the president is under publicly now, to folks here at home who are going to be concerned about him committing any type of additional resources versus those who are there in the region and say this is a very real issue, they're convinced, they want to see action?
Well, we met with one of our best allies in the area last week, King Abdullah from Jordan, who's been a stalwart ally of ours. Obviously, if you listen to him, if you listen to Turkey, if you listen to other neighbors, they're not as excited about pulling the trigger as some people are. Anytime there's U.S. involvement, of course, it has deep, deep ripples that go out from wherever our involvement is. So having said that, I'm not so sure that the neighbors are real excited about us doing things like putting boots on the ground. Beyond that, I have no doubt they'd like to see some support. The American people are war-weary. I mean, to go out and try to sell this to the American people that we should put boots on the ground or something like that, it's going to be very, very difficult for the president. In addition to that, the use of the chemicals has been limited from what we've seen. There's physiological tests that confirm that they've used chemicals. It is not widespread at this point, but the question is where is that red line? Is it limited use? Is it widespread use? Those are questions the president's going to have to answer. Those are very, very difficult questions.
Yes, they are. Senator Jim Risch, we thank you, sir, for your time today.
Thank you.